Whoa! UFC Fight Night Denver, Namajunas versus Cortez takes place this weekend, guys. And I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card. Starting with the early prelim opener of Josh Fremd versus Andre Petroski. You know what? Who knows, really? Like, who really understands what's going to happen in this matchup? Andre Petroski is a better fighter than Josh Fremd. Without a doubt, he is a better fighter. In his last fight, he got KO'd by someone's hip. So who knows? Anything can happen. It's a coin flip every time. There's no point. There's no point in me wasting time doing research. Going with Andre Petroski. Grappling edge over Josh Fremd. Maybe. Josh Fremd is a bit larger than him, though. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But then again, he struggled with Jamie Pickett. So, like, I'm going to go, obviously, with Andre Petroski. So we'll go with him. But he got KO'd by someone's hip in his last fight. The way they described the TKO was lost via ground strikes after hard collision. Like he's in a motorcycle accident. He headbutted someone's hip and got chinned. So who knows? He's better than Josh Fremd. But like, he could be KO'd by a hip going for a takedown in this fight. Because it's just random nonsense every card. We move on. Up the card. Montel Jackson versus Blackshear. Now, this is actually a tricky one to predict, and I actually do enjoy this fight. I want to side with Montel Jackson here. I want to trust in the process of Montel Jackson. He has been unranked without losing for what feels like 5 years. Has it been 5 years? No, it's been 4 years. Very, very inactive. Smoked Mariya in his last fight. Beat Julian. No, you know what? I'm going to go Blackshear. I'm actually going to go Blackshear. You not finishing JP Bays? I'm going to go Blackshear. Lost to Mario Batista. Very, very close decision. Mario Batista's a monster. I'm hoping that Blackshear is going to be some kind of underdog in this matchup. I don't really look at the odds before I do these. But I am going to lean towards Blackshear here, even though the majority of people are picking Montel Jackson. He is the underdog. I'm actually going to go with him. I don't like the lack of finishing potential in Montel Jackson. I don't rate a win over Mariya at this point. He's ancient. I could beat Mariya in a fight. I truly believe that. I don't rate him. Couldn't finish JP Bays, who stepped in on short notice. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I much prefer the body of work of Blackshear, even in losses, compared to Montel Jackson's wins. Mario Batista performance, he arguably could have won, and that is saying something insane because he fought a week before that against Jose Johnson, came back a week afterwards, and nearly beat Mario Batista. So I think that's incredibly impressive. I think his performance against Farid Basharat was also quite impressive as well, even though, you know, Basharat's, they did get a little bit fraud checked. Javid got a little bit fraud checked. Or was it Farid that got fraud checked? No, it was Javid that got fraud checked. Farid Basharat, we don't know yet. But we also saw in that fight, Blackshear showed great grappling. And I think that might be the difference here against Montel Jackson. It's a tricky fight for him, but I reckon he can get this one done, being a little bit stronger. And if you're not finishing JP Bays on the feet, I don't see you, like, dominating on the feet against Blackshear. And if that does happen, I guess I'll just have to take it out on the next card, which is, I can't even think about what the card is. It's that absolute garbage of a card. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go Blackshear, though. We'll see how much these rage predictions come out. You know what? Yeah, I'm about to leak something in this next fight. Luana Santos versus Mariya Agapova. I'm going with Luana Santos. I know a lot of people see Mariya Agapova as a dangerous fighter, but I'm actually going to leak something in this video. I've been sent, over the past however many months, a month ago, to probably a few months before that, people were spamming me to make a video about Mariya Agapova because she's a drug addict, gambling addict, degenerate that spent all of her fucking money. So I've leaked it. People were spamming me that on Instagram. She's begging me for money in my DMs. You need to see this. She's weighing in under her limit right now because she's so gaunt. She says she doesn't have enough money for food. So I'm seeing an absolute catastrophe of a life that is existing right now for one of these fighters. And I'm going to go with Luana Santos instead. Now, I could be wrong in that. And maybe Mariya Agapova just crackheads her way through this matchup. Who knows? But I literally was sent so many messages. True or not, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But so many messages saying that this Mariya Agapova is addicted to drugs. She's got gambling debt. She's in debt to all these people back wherever she's from. And she's got all these problems. And she's under pressure. And she needs money. And she's begging people for money. I'm going to trust in Luana Santos. She beat Stephanie Egger. I think Stephanie Egger's all right. Other than that, who fucking knows what's going to happen? So I'm going to go Luana Santos over Mariya Agapova, being a bit more committed to the game right now. Let's just say that at least. Mariya Agapova's first round fighter. After that seems to slow down a bit. I don't see Luana Santos getting finished in the first round, so I guess I could see her getting a finish in the second or third by submission or TKO is what we're going to go with here. I don't rate a win over Sabina Marzo, or Hannah Cyphers. So there you go. Either of those. I'm going to go with Luana Santos. And there's a bit of inside information for you. I've literally been spammed about a month ago. I was spammed with messages saying that she was a drug addict, gambling addict, in debt, underweight, had to bulk to make 125 because she's that gaunt, can't afford food, all of that shit. They were spamming me about that. I have no idea where she's from. Was it, what Kazakhstani fighters or whatever? But they were spamming me about her misfortune. So I'm going to go Luana Santos. We move on. Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Fatima Kline. Fatima Kline is a grappling girl. Massive, massive grappling credentials. Hasn't been able to submit fucking mid opponents in her pro career. Absolutely mid opponents. Jasmine Jasudavicius, we've seen her against good, capable women's fighters. We've seen her hang with decent, capable women's fighters. She looked good in her last fight against Priscilla Cachoeira. Absolutely dominated the fight. I think she's got way better stand-up than Fatima Kline. And Fatima is a grappler. She's going to want to get this one to the ground and try and use her jiu-jitsu. But in her last fight, she fought a girl who was 5'2" and an atom weight. She's fighting at flyweight, 125 pounds on this card. Her last opponent weighed in her last fight at 105 pounds. She's 5'2". And she couldn't finish her on the ground. She couldn't do anything. I'm going to go with Jasmine Jasudavicius. Larger, stronger, and I think she'll be able to shut down the grappling. And if she can, I think she's going to have a real easy time in this fight on the feet. We've seen her deal with Miranda Maverick well. Very close fight, I get it, but still. Gabriela Fernandez is actually pretty good as well, I would say. She looked good in her last fight and actually had a pretty good performance against Carly Judice. And, you know, this girl has a win over her as well, Jasmine Jasudavicius. So I'm going to trust in Jasmine Jasudavicius. She's only lost to Tracy Cortez and Natalia Silva, who are both pretty good. So I'm going to go with Jasudavicius here. We move on. Up the card, Joshua Van versus Charles Johnson. This is a tricky one because Charles Johnson is your favorite underdog at flyweight, basically, isn't he? That's what Charles Johnson is. You see him on a card, everyone counts him out, ugly ass record, weird looking guy. What the fuck is that haircut? I can't speak though, so I'll take that back. I'm going to write him off this time, though. I'm going to go Joshua Van. I'm actually going to say he wins by decision. I just think he'll have the more ooh and ah moments in the fight, and I think Johnson struggles having those moments in fights. A lot of times you see Johnson against a grappler, and he does really well against him because he doesn't accept bottom position very often, and he works his way back up to his feet very well, and he's got unlimited cardio, used to be a track and field Olympian, so really good in that category. But I think on the feet, this might be a different vibe for Charles Johnson out of nowhere, where now he's actually got someone who just wants to strike with him. I think that's going to be an advantage for Van. He's not going to be shooting takedowns non-stop on a guy who doesn't get held down. He's not going to be wasting energy I reckon he'll be able to hang on the feet against Charles Johnson pretty well, use his body shots, get on the inside, and work Charles Johnson by decision. We see Charles Johnson lose a lot of close decisions in his career because, again, he doesn't seem to have that ooh and ah to his game. Like, he doesn't seem to pop people with big shots that make the crowd make noise. Joshua Van is one of those guys. And if this does end up being a close decision, I'm going to favor Van because of that, because he will have the bigger moments. And if this doesn't go to a close decision, I can see Van schooling Johnson more than I can see Johnson schooling Van. So I'm going to say that Johnson actually wins the first round, and then Van wins the second round and the third round. I think that's the logical approach to take to predicting this fight. I'm going with Van 29-28. I like Joshua Van. I think he's pretty good. And he's fighting a guy in Charles Johnson here that's, again, probably not going to try and take him down, which is a good thing for him. It's going to be a stand-up match between Joshua Van and Charles Johnson. And as far as I'm aware, out of the two of them, finishing potential goes to Joshua Van. And I'd say chin goes to Joshua Van. Durability in general goes to Joshua Van. I think he's a more technical striker as well. So technique, chin, finishing potential in a stand-up fight. I'm going with Joshua Van. We move on. Up the card, Cody Brundage versus Abdul Razak-Alhassan. Now, a part of me secretly wants to, pick Cody Brundage to win. But I'm going to go with Abdul Razak-Alhassan. This is a tricky one, though, because Abdul Razak-Alhassan is a little bit of a hit-and-miss fighter where you never really know what version of him is going to show up. Sometimes he goes out there, smokes a guy. Sometimes he goes out there, looks really good. Other times he kind of shits the bed a little bit. You know, we saw that against Pyfer, but Pyfer was... I'm going to be honest with you. I've watched the fight again. He was terrified of Joe Pyfer. Fact. In the build-up, he was saying, I'm going to go power for power with him. He was absolutely terrified of Joe Pyfer the entire fight. Maybe Pyfer really does hit that hard. Only the great Hermansson can take the punches. But then again, he never really landed clean on him, did he? Claudio Ribeiro, good win over him. TKO, nasty win. Brutal as well, up against the ropes. That was after Ribeiro got KO'd by Kopylov, though, so it is what it is. Maybe before that, though, it was on a 2-fight KO streak there for Claudio Ribeiro. A little bit of a tough one. Joaquin Buckley. Very close fight with Joaquin Buckley, and that's the fight where I'm looking at and I'm thinking, yeah, he's better than Cody Brundage. Because I think Buckley would finish Brundage easily. Brundage is 10-6, just got dominated by Bo Nickel. And I know people really like to critique Bo Nickel. I completely understand. He did dominate Cody Brundage and make him look silly in that fight. I know it's Bo Nickel and it's expected and you're supposed to make it look easy. Oh, wow, dude, Brundage stuffed a takedown in round 2. Other than that, he pretty much got completely dominated in that fight. Some exchanges on the feet. Other than that, Bo Nickel was in control of all of the grappling moments. And I think Abdul Razak-Alhassan's going to have a big stand-up advantage over Brundage here. And Brundage doesn't offensively wrestle well. He has a wrestling background. He showed he can, scramble a little bit against Bo Nickel and give him some kind of problem. But he doesn't offensively grapple well. And I watched his fight with Cedric Dumas. I don't know how else to describe this and explain it. He slam KO'd Zachary Reese. Pretty much a fluke. But he slammed him. It's whatever. It was in a triangle. He got the slam KO. It is what it is. Illegal elbows to the back of the head. He got a DQ victory against Jacob Malkoun after being dominated by him for the first part of that fight as well. The Cedric Dumas fight is legitimately, and I say this in the most respectful way I possibly can, was the most fucking disgusting display of martial arts I've ever seen in my fucking life. If that guy beats Abdul Razak-Alhassan, I don't know what I'll do. He could have improved. Maybe. He's 30. So we'll see if he makes any groundbreaking changes to his game. I think Abdul Razak-Alhassan's takedown defense is underrated. I don't think Brundage is Joe Pyfer. I reckon Abdul Razak-Alhassan is going to be able to deal with Cody Brundage in this fight and knock him out on the feet in round 1 or 2. We move on. Up the card, Christian Rodriguez versus Julian Erosa. I'm going to go Christian Rodriguez. I think this is a layup, and I think it's an embarrassment that they've given this absolute disgrace to martial arts a layup. Dude can't make weight to save his fucking life, even upper weight class. He's a disgrace to combat sports. If Bulgarian's name ended in a V and he was from Dagestan, he wins that fight 10 out of 10 times on the scorecards. But because he wasn't, now all of a sudden grappling don't mean shit in the scoring. You know how it works. I think Christian Rodriguez is a supreme talent. Composure, technique. He's got all of it. Missed weight against Raul Rosas Jr. by multiple pounds. Ruined that prospect. Missed weight against Cameron Simon. Beat him. Ruined that. Peyton Tabet also did his thing as well. But still, missed weight there. And then he moves up against Isaac Bulgarian and gets this. It's all good. It's all good. I'm going to go with Christian Rodriguez. Even though I hate what he did to two prospects at bantamweight. Because he's a disgraceful, undisciplined piece of shit. I am going to go with him to beat Julian Erosa, though. They've given him a layup. I don't know why they're rewarding him. No one gives a fuck about him. People give a fuck about people he's beaten more than him. But we'll see what happens. And maybe I'll just keep building this fucking feud until he gets a world championship. Because that's what happens to fighters I don't like. So we'll see. I'm going to go with Christian Rodriguez over Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa is unathletic, soy, limp-wristed, no pop in his shots anymore. Beat Ricardo Ramos with a guillotine because Ramos is downs and retarded. I don't think Christian Rodriguez is retarded. His weight mishaps may seem like he is, but I don't think he is. Other than that, yeah, I'm going to have to go against Julian Erosa, dude. He's awful. He's an awful fighter. Sometimes he wins and sometimes he puts pressure on guys. Rodriguez is a guy that doesn't get pressured. He always does the next best move. He stays composed, keeps himself in a fight. I'm actually going to go with Christian Rodriguez getting this one done by TKO at some point. I think he'll land a clean enough shot to wobble Erosa and then put him away, maybe in round 2 or 3, after some high-paced moments in the early rounds. I'm going to go Christian Rodriguez to win this fight. Undisciplined schmuck, ruined bantamweight prospects, but I think he'll do well at 145. We move on. And also, his debut against Jonathan Pierce on short notice was actually really impressive, the way he stuffed a lot of the takedowns and stayed in the fight. So, yeah, he's good. I'm going to go with him to win this fight. C-Rod by TKO later rounds. We move on. Up the card, Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Loosa. You guys know the Ange Loosa pick is tempting here, okay? I am going to go with Gabriel Bonfim. You guys know how tempting that Ange Loosa pick is. I know he looked terrible against Brian Battle, which is why I'm going to pick Gabriel Bonfim. But there's sometimes when you watch an Ange Loosa fight and you're like, dude, this guy is going to be a champ. Not a champ, but he separates himself from trash when I see him fight. You know what I mean? I don't look at Ange Loosa and think, what a bum. Never. Looked good against JDM. You know what I mean? Really hard to hold down. Brian Battle did make him look like a schmuck in that fight, though. Like, he was beaten up on him. And if you look at why he was beaten up on him, listen. Jack Della Maddalena is Ange Loosa sized, maybe a little bit taller, okay? Ange Loosa is a 5'10 welterweight. Not very big. Gabriel Bonfim, 6'1". Massive dude for the division. And you also look at an opponent in the last fight of Ange Loosa, by the way, which was a humiliating fight for him. Reese McKee had a good third round. I think Reese McKee's garbage. I really think Reese McKee's quite garbage. No offense. I'm just trying to be legitimate here. AJ Fletcher nearly finished Ange Loosa. I think if those guys are getting close, Bonfim will have a moment. He's athletic. He's dangerous. He's coming off a loss, an embarrassing loss in Brazil. He's going to be looking to get right back on track. And Brian Battle really did kind of humiliate Ange Loosa in that fight. And I think Ange Loosa is going to be out there a little bit aggressive, trying to sort of stand his ground a bit more. I don't think he's going to be out there looking to jab and win a points decision after what just happened in his last fight. I think he's going to look to make a statement early in the fight, and I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim getting a finish. I think he'll wobble Ange Loosa with some kind of shot and then turn that into some kind of submission with a takedown after he's wobbled Ange Loosa with like some kind of shot to the temple. You've got to go to the temple on Ange Loosa. That's shots that Bonfim should be looking for. And I think he can land those in the pocket. Ange Loosa throws a lot of straight punches. Don't see them landing on a much taller opponent in Gabriel Bonfim, who's going to be working on the outside. And when he does get on the inside and start scrapping, I think he's got a huge advantage over Ange Loosa. And he has the grappling option as well. It's just, does he go all out like he did against Nicholas Dalby and completely gas? Who knows? I'm going to go Gabriel Bonfim. But again, Nicholas Dalby nearly just beat Renat Fakretinov, so I don't know if you can even say that was a fraud check. Dalby might just be that guy. I'm going with Gabriel Bonfim, getting this one done by finish at some point. We move on. Up the card, Drew Dober versus Gene Silva. There is a part of me that wants to just pick Drew Dober to lose because Gene Silva's not Gene Bronze, if you know what I'm saying. He's Gene Silva, you guys, okay? He's not quite Gene Bronze. If this was Gene Bronze we're talking about, Dober's lighting his fucking world on fire, okay? Ooh, it is tricky, though. Gene Silva just fought. He's going to have to try and make weight again. This is something that... Whoa, no. Moving up from featherweight. Whoa. Layers. Moving up from featherweight. He missed weight. He's a short dude. Does he have the pop to put away Dober? That's the question. Couldn't put away his guy on the Contender Series. Does he have the pop to put away a Dobski? That's the question we got to wonder. I don't think he does. I don't think this guy does. I don't think he's going to put away Dober at 155, especially because this dude was like prepping himself to make 145, and now he's fighting at 155. He hasn't built himself up. If Dober loses this, it will be quite shocking to me. I'm going to go with Drew Dober. I think Gene Silva's going to get scrappy with him. I think Dober will make it out the first round. I think Dober will get hit with some big shots, and Gene Silva will go for him and not get the finish. And I can see Dober getting this one done by TKO in the late second or third round against Gene Silva, up against the cage with combinations. Yeah, I like that Gene Silva stepped up and took this fight, but I think this is a bad one for him on short notice, upper weight class. I don't see the power translating from featherweight up to lightweight. It rarely does. So I'm going to go with Dober getting this one done by TKO. We move on. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Muslim Salikhov. This is very tricky because Santiago Ponzinibbio loves to lose a close decision. And Muslim Salikhov is quite dangerous. But he's coming off a KO loss. Before that, he lost to Nicholas Dalby. And quite clearly as well, should I add. He beat Andre Fialho. A decision against Trinaldo. Split with Alessio Zaleski. Like, these wins don't age well. Speaking of not aging well, Muslim Salikhov over here. Laureano Strapoli, Nordine Taleb. Alessio Zaleski's a good one. I rate that. I do rate that. Trinaldo, Fialho. Lost to Li Jingliang, got smoked. Finished in the second round. Dalby put it on him. Randy Brown finished him. He's been beaten 3 times in his last 4 fights. He's 40 years of age. Santiago Ponzinibbio's not exactly in his prime, but he's 37. I think he's got a bit more snap. He's a little larger than Muslim Salikhov as well. He's got a reach advantage over Muslim Salikhov. I reckon he'll be able to do it. I actually thought that Santiago Ponzinibbio was looking pretty good against Kevin Holland before he got chinned by him in the 3rd round. And that always is the worry with Santiago Ponzinibbio, right? Is that, what if he gets chinned at some point? But the guy went to a split decision with Jeff Neal, which was very close. And he went to a split decision with Mikel Pereira, which was very close. I like this guy. I like this guy's chances. They've both been smoked by Li Jingliang. He finished Alex Morono last year. Not that good of a win. Alex Morono's awful. But I think he'll beat Muslim Salikhov. I think things are on his side. I'm going to go with him to win this fight. He was supposed to fight D-Rod last year. Had it cancelled. Now he's back. Yeah, I'll go with him over Muslim Salikhov. And Salikhov got KO'd 5 months ago. Which isn't that long ago, but just as a 40-year-old, I'm like, I'd rather have him have taken some time off. It seems like he's rushing back in. A lot of these older guys, sometimes when you're like, why are you back this soon? It's like, oh yeah, he's 40 and he's probably got bills to pay. And you don't know how much longer they're going to let him in the sport to make money. So he's just trying to get back out there. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to go with Santiago Ponzinibbio decision. I think he'll just out barely do Salikhov in certain moments with his straight punches and low kicks at times as well. Salikhov might go for some crazy stuff. I think Ponzinibbio will survive it and go for Salikhov in a bit more of a technical way. We move on. Up the card. Rose Namajunas versus Tracy Cortez. Now, there is a part of me that wants to maybe gamble at the pick of Tracy Cortez. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are thinking the same. I'm going to have to go with Rose Namajunas, though. She looked good in her last fight, I thought, at flyweight. I've got so many tabs open here, sorry. She beat Amanda Ribas. Nothing too crazy, but she beat Amanda Ribas, which is a decent win. Manon Fiorot fight, if I'm not mistaken, and Manon Fiorot just absolutely humiliated Erin Blanchfield and made her look like she's never trained a day in her life before. If I'm not mistaken, I'm fairly certain that Rose Namajunas looked very good against Manon Fiorot and actually had a pretty close fight with one hand. Now, maybe that logic ain't going to work here. Maybe. But I thought Rose looked really good against Manon Fiorot with one hand in that fight. She won the first round, lost the second round, lost the third round in a very close round. And she broke her hand in that fight. She did. She also tried takedowns in that fight. Tried 6 of them. I like that against Tracy Cortez here. And also, this is a 5-rounder. Tracy Cortez has not been fully prepared. Rose Namajunas has. I'm going to go with Rose getting this one done by decision. 48-47, 49-46. Maybe Tracy Cortez wins like the second round or the first. But I think Rose is going to win every round after that. And maybe even get a finish herself. So we'll see. I just rate the performance that Rose had, which could have gone to her against Manon Fiorot, by the way. But very close. I get it. It went to Fiorot. I scored it that way as well. Very close fight with Manon Fiorot. Very close fight with Justine Kish. Gatto. Competitive close fight. Looked great in her last fight against Jasmine Jasudavicius in the boxing. But that ain't Rose Namajunas, is it? Rose beat Zhang Weili. You know what I mean? That's impressive. That's very impressive. Even though Rose gets a lot of shit. I get it. She looks like Ashtray. See that meme everywhere. With looking down the shotgun or whatever it is. But, you know, I reckon Rose will get this one done and beat Tracy Cortez. By decision, 49-46. Pretty shit fight. But maybe we'll get some north-south positions and things will go by a bit quicker. Who knows? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. That's all of the predictions for the card. What an amazing blockbuster card it was. I can't wait for next week's card, which is Lemos versus Jandiroba. Can't wait. Looking forward to it, guys. See you later. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.